Our protagonist is a clean freak and a germaphobe who follows all COVID-19 regulations named Aoyama, while he loves to play football. However, one rainy day when the team's pride is at stake, Aoyama manages to score a goal while getting dirty, winning the hearts of his teammates as well as his rivals. Timestamp from start. Aoyama's journey as a star footballer began when he won the under-16 junior level matches by scoring the last goal for his team, while his admirer Gato Moka watches him on the TV while hugging her plush toy. Even though Aoyama is an amazing athlete, he studies in an ordinary school, Fujimi High School, where he enjoys his celebrity status while keeping everything spotless. One day, while doing his daily mantra, Aoyama's classmate, Shin Narita, feels empathy for Aoyama as he is a clean freak himself. After that, during practice, while others cheer for Aoyama who is washing his hands, Zazen Kaoru feels infuriated by his cleanliness. Although Coach Miwa tries to reason with Zazen as he will be linking with Aoyama during the game, Zazen only feels that Aoyama will hold him down. During practice, other players coddle around Aoyama to make him feel at home. Zazen bursts out, which ultimately ends up embarrassing him in the end, as others point out Zazen's rich background, while the coach throws him for not listening to her words. Later in the night, Zazen watches a girl outside of their club room, but before he can ask her anything, she runs away. Through the window, he watches Aoyama cleaning the football, while Miwa suggests that even though Aoyama is a clean freak, he still loves soccer so much that he cleans the footballs every day, which makes Zazen surprised. The next day, a previous teammate of Aoyama from another school visits Fujimi High School in his pursuit to convince Aoyama to join his school. However, Aoyama blatantly refuses Thicc offer by suggesting Fujimi has something unique that other schools lack. After that, Thicc challenges Aoyama's team for a match to prove his point and starts to act smug after scoring an early goal. However, Aoyama's skills shine as he effortlessly scores 2 goals solo. During halftime, Aoyama faces more challenges, as Thic's team restrains him while their teammates take the stage. Aoyama's team disappoints, and even the Coyote Zazen misses an easy shot, talking about being a huge disappointment. After that, the rain pours down, making the ground muddy. With 5 minutes left, Aoyama's team trails, but he's determined to win. Overcoming his loathing for dirt, Aoyama scores 2 goals, leading his team to victory. They all celebrate, but catching Aoyama would require a miracle. Gato is a timid, shy girl who has an unending crush on Aoyama, who they were classmates when they were in middle school. Back to the present day, Gato watches Aoyama from afar and admires him for his cleanliness. One day, after practice, the boys change their clothes in the clubroom when Jin Tsukamoto claims that he thinks that someone is watching him, making everyone laugh as he is the team clown. Don't be so rough on our four-eyed football player, while Aoyama gets ready for his daily cleaning duty. The next day, the team appreciates Aoyama for his cleaning habit, but when they realize that their uniforms are also folded neatly, Captain Gaku Ishikawa suspects that it's someone else doing, as Aoyama would rather die than touch other people's clothes. After that, the students feel on edge as they try to find the culprit, who turns out to be Gato, as she has made it her daily ritual to keep the club room clean. One day, while cleaning the clubroom, Gato remembers her only conversation with Aoyama when she offered Aoyama her custom-made cat doll, which he didn't take as he is a germaphobe. However, in the present day, Aoyama captures her and offers his help to Gato, and even recommends an exclusive cleaning agent. However, his mention of her name strikes a chord with Gato. Overwhelmed by Aoyama's recognition, tears flow down her cheeks just as the rest of the club members enter the room. Initially skeptical of Aoyama being alone with a girl, their attitude changes when they realize that Gato has been the one cleaning their clothes and belongings all along. The team captain invites her to become the club manager, and with passion, she gladly accepts the role. Everything seems to be going well so far, but that is about to change. The next day, while Aoyama showers, the boys find themselves in the club room. One daring member, Jin, decides to sniff Aoyama's towel, and the scent is so overwhelmingly pleasant that he becomes blissfully entranced, burying his nose in the fabric, and ends up sharing this revelation on Twitter. The following day, everyone shows up to practice with the sole intention of catching a whiff of his towel. Chaos ensues, and even Gato, armed with a spiked baseball bat, is outnumbered and unable to control the situation. Meanwhile, Aoyama, displaying his remarkable agility, effortlessly dodges the crowd. However, it is only when Zazen speaks up that the chaos subsides and the students disperse. With the room finally calm, Zazen's curiosity gets the best of him, and he smells the Aoyama's towel, discovering an inexplicable surreal quality, a fragrance carrying the essence of pleasant memories and nostalgia. A few moments later, Aoyama enters the room, noticing Zazen's fervent sniffing. Despite Zazen's attempts to explain, Aoyama keeps his distance and advises him to burn the towel, unwilling to engage further. The next day, while going to school, Jin and others comment on the fact that Aoyama never takes the train to avoid human contact, while a girl from another school smiles sinisterly at the mention of Aoyama's name. After school, the boys decide to eat at a restaurant as they have a match tomorrow and Aoyama has to stay with them due to excessive rain. Despite this, Aoyama only indulges himself in cleaning the restaurant, while Thicc shows up to flex his abs and to taunt Aoyama's team who will be facing the delinquents of Thicc Academy tomorrow. After that, when the meals are served, Aoyama doesn't eat his fill as his germophobia doesn't let him eat food made by other people, while a food eating competition ensues between Thicc and Thicc. After eating almost all of the menu, Thicc wins the competition as Thicc remembers the killer pass that Aoyama gave him during the under-16 soccer game. The rain also lifts as Aoyama leaves and the same girl from the train observes him. The next day, as Fujimi High School's students warm up before their first official game against Thicc Academy, Aoyama diligently cleans balls and other items before the match when he is approached by Kana, the girlfriend of the opposing team's captain. She asks for his help with some cleaning, and despite the usual allure of a pretty girl, Aoyama agrees, driven by his desire to make the world a cleaner place. Unbeknownst to Aoyama, it was a trap as Kana leads him into the opponent's locker room and locks him inside. With the game about to begin, Fujimi High School has no choice but to start without their star player. However, everyone, even the local dog, knows that they don't stand a chance without Aoyama's skills. Inside the locker room, Aoyama tries to reason with Kana, but to his surprise, she begins removing her clothes, intending to make it appear as if she was the victim of an assault if someone were to open the door accidentally. However, instead of feeling intimidated by Kana, Aoyama falls feeling claustrophobic. Meanwhile, Garu searches for Aoyama throughout the building, eventually locating him, and with her trusty sticky bat, Garu scares Kana and frees Aoyama. However, instead of joining his team on the field immediately, Aoyama stays behind to clean the locker room he was trapped in, displaying his unwavering commitment to cleanliness. Finally on the field, thanks to the added 15 minutes, Aoyama scores 4 goals and assists Aizen, securing a decisive victory for Fujimi High School. With room to spare, Aoyama's exceptional skills and dedication to cleanliness prevail once again as Kana also becomes Aoyama's fan. Just like Aoyama, Shin Narita is also a clean freak and a gamer, but he keeps it a secret as he thinks that letting people know of his nature will be idiotic. So, for his morning ritual, Shin comes to the school much earlier than anybody else, and as he keeps it to himself, he ends up getting dirty all the time due to his classmates' barbaric nature. One day, in the home economics class, the girls show off their disastrous cooking skills. Meanwhile, Shin and Aoyama's cooking skills become the center of attention as students from other classes also barge into the home economics class due to the mouth-watering smell of delicious food. As everyone enjoys the delicacy of homemade food, Shin thinks about his difficulties as a germaphobe and contemplates the fact that Aoyama also feels the same way. Later in the night, another player joins Shin's game, whose gameplay makes Shin think he might be Aoyama. The next day, while Aoyama cleans the school ground, Shin realizes that Aoyama has the same keychain as him, which is granted to those people who are top players in the game. However, as the Aoyama and the in reality are two different creatures, Shin disregards his thought. Even so, he decides to check on the keychain when the PE starts. Although Shin finds himself in trouble when a classmate's PE uniform goes missing, his calm demeanor and the fact that he comes to school early make others suspect him as the culprit. As everyone tries to chase him, Shin runs, not because he is guilty, but to avoid any physical contact with them. Fortunately, Aoyama appears, holding the bag containing the dirty uniform. Aoyama declares that Shin would never steal something like that, shedding light on the true innocence of Shin. Though doubtful that anyone would apologize to him, Shin is even more surprised by how Aoyama already knew about his cleaning habits. However, Shin decides to hide his real persona, causing one of the classmates to hug him, while Shin gets a glimpse of the keychain, which makes him realize that his new clan member is Aoyama. However, when Shin decides to have a chat with Aoyama in the game, Aoyama's dirty room makes him think otherwise. As Fujimi High School prepares for their upcoming game against Minamina Physico High School, a familiar face emerges in Aoyama's fan club. Gaku has decided to join the club as his girlfriend also roots for Aoyama. Meanwhile, Jin, who is known as the class clown, possesses an extraordinary talent. He can juggle the ball using his butt indefinitely. Despite his humorous demeanor, Jin's performance is crucial to boosting team morale. Jin also knows his role and decides to keep his momentum up by making the audience laugh. However, an unexpected twist unfolds when it is revealed that Jin knows the captain of Minamina Physico High School. And in fact, he was once part of their team during high school. Unfortunately, Jin's time with his former teammates was spoiled by relentless bullying, forcing him to transfer to a different high school. Now, facing his former tormentors on the field, Jin is plagued by the haunting memories of his past, as his previous captain always made him feel worthless by kicking the ball into his face. Jin's PTSD leaves him unable to move properly, rendering his defense futile. Frustrated and feeling like a burden to his team, Jin locks himself in the bathroom during halftime, hoping they will replace him when some players of the opposite team reveal the entire truth about Jin's past with their captain. Little does Jin know that Aoyama is inside the same bathroom, busy cleaning. Aoyama, who once experienced similar struggles, recognizes Jin's pain, and Jin's friends also decide to support him along the lines. As the second half begins, Jin's friends support him, while they also ask the coach to let Jin play the game. Jin's friends provide him with the confidence that he needs to move on as they tackle the captain, who is trying to take advantage of Jin's situation. Moreover, Aoyama deliberately allows the opponents to surround him, creating an opportunity for Jin. In an unexpected move, Aoyama makes a peculiar pass, but Jin understands exactly what Aoyama intends for him to do. With precision and determination, Jin scores a spectacular goal using his powerful butt technique. With Jin's goal and renewed confidence, Fujimi High School secures a decisive victory. Jin's spirit is reignited, and he once again radiates his lively energy. The team's triumph not only brings them success on the field but also serves as a powerful moment of redemption for Jin. His journey from being bullied and traumatized to reclaiming his joy and talent inspires everyone around him. Among the quirky students at Fujimi High School is Atsumu Ozaki, a talented manga artist. His manga series has gained significant success and even earned an anime adaptation. As Ozaki's classmates don't know he is the mastermind behind the manga, he decides to observe Jin, who is reading the latest chapter. However, the teacher grabs Jin's manga and throws it into the bin. Moreover, it is revealed that the teacher is going through a tough breakup, causing her to act irrationally, but Ozaki throws some sense into her by using his character's words, which makes the teacher realize her mistake. After that, for the next character, Ozaki decides to use Aoyama as the inspiration and follows Aoyama discreetly. But he is disappointed by the way others treat him, which leads him to believe that Aoyama is not a good person. Consequently, he creates Wizard Sama, the antagonist based on Aoyama. Wizard Sama is portrayed as a ruthless maniac who will go to extreme lengths to maintain a clean world. The character gains immense popularity, overshadowing the protagonist, while Wizard Sama becomes a cultural phenomenon, much to Ozaki's dismay. Ozaki's frustration stems from the fact that the protagonist is based on himself. As a result, he starts making Wizard Samba increasingly evil with each passing chapter. However, this alteration fails to satisfy his desire to triumph over Aoyama, and Magician Sama becomes the face of Ozaki's manga, gathering an unprecedented level of popularity. Ozaki's manager shares that the merchandise associated with the character is selling like hotcakes, and discussions about Magician Sama is spreading like wildfire across the world, which makes Ozaki extremely angry, and he decides to take a risky move by transforming Magician Sama into a playboy character, hoping to add a fresh twist to the story. Unfortunately, this decision backfires, and the character's popularity takes a hit for the first time. Recognizing the decline, the production company urges Ozaki to bring back the original Magician Sama immediately. Desperate to regain his creation's former glory, Ozaki employs every trick in the book to recapture the audience's attention by introducing another villain and even making Wizard Sama fall in love with the protagonist EWW. But as the character is no longer based on Aoyama, the audience gradually loses interest. Ozaki decides to ask Aoyama about his opinion about the manga, but Aoyama informs that he doesn't read this manga due to its art style. Aoyama's disregard for his manga makes Ozaki realize that the charm of Magician Sama lies in his original iteration. Acknowledging this, Ozaki relents and brings back the beloved, wholesome Magician Sama once again, and the character reclaims the spotlight, captivating readers with his evil deeds in the subsequent storyline. Through this experience, Ozaki understands that it was Aoyama who was a bad person, but people themselves tend to follow him. After the Ozaki fiasco, one day Aoyama decides to try out basketball during the PE. However, when one of the players throws the ball at him, Aoyama dodges to put on his gloves. Meanwhile, another new character catches everyone's attention, Otajiri Mio, who is a basketball player loved by her classmates, especially boys. But Ojiri has a small problem: she cannot dunk the ball in the basket. However, as Otajiri watches Aoyama throw the basket easily, she decides to address Aoyama as her teacher. But it is seen as a hostile situation, causing students to gather around Aoyama to ask him to stay away from Otajiri. After threatening our protagonist, everyone prepares for the game where Aoyama takes the lead as he doesn't like to lose. After that, when it's the girl's turn, Otajiri no doubt excels in her athletic abilities, but she doesn't know how to dunk a ball, which can cause her to leave the basketball club. However, Otajiri feels motivated when Aoyama suggests that she should believe her instinct, causing her to dunk a ball, which makes her feel extremely powerful. After the game, Otajiri shows her appreciation for Aoyama's help and ends up touching him, which leads to a very surprising situation as Aoyama doesn't back away and feels astounded about his current predicament. Meanwhile, Jin decides to spread the rumor, which ends up being a tedious problem for Aoyama. The next day, as the rumors spread that Aoyama is dating Otajiri, Aoyama's fan club disintegrates and he ends up getting a lot of attention. So, Aoyama decides to avoid Otajiri and asks one of his classmates to shake his hands, and he ends up in a compromised position. After that, when Aoyama's classmates are playing arm wrestle, he comes across Otajiri, who shares her progress in the basketball game. But Aoyama asks Otajiri to have an arm wrestle with him, which ends up making Aoyama astounded as he ponders on the fact that he is fine that Otajiri is touching his hands. To test his germaphobe theory, Aoyama offers his lunch to Otajiri and in return asks her to make lunch for him tomorrow. However, as this is a decisive moment for Aoyama, other students who have a crush on Otajiri ruins Aoyama's chance to eat a lunch made by another person. Ultimately, Aoyama asks Otajiri to watch his upcoming match, which makes Otajiri, his forever apprentice, comply. On the day of the match, when Aoyama scores a goal, he ends up in front of Otajiri to have a high five. This causes another commotion, but Otajiri informs the students that they are not dating, which lifts everyone's morale while Jin spreads the word. As the misunderstanding about their relationship clears, the applause for Aoyama reverberates on the field once again. Meanwhile, Gato understands Aoyama's situation and that he also yearns for human contact even though his condition doesn't let him touch anyone. However, Fujini High's troubles are far from over. Yumaya Tsubasa, the star player of the judo club, with unparalleled skill sets, decides to quit and join the soccer team. It's not because of Aoyama, but because he has developed a crush on our manager, Gato. The manager introduces Yumaya to the team, who feel that Yumaya has a stiff character, while the judo teacher decides to confront his star student who ignores him to help out Gato. The teacher feels infuriated when he realizes that Yumaya left the judo club for his love interest, but when he provokes Yumaya, he throws the teacher onto the ground. The next day, Jin and the others ponder on the reason for Yumaya's recruitment, as they claim that Gato is already infatuated with Aoyama and even consistently wears a t-shirt that reads "Love Aoyama," a clear indication of her feelings. After that, Zazen decides to intervene and suggests Yumaya be serious about the game. However, Yumaya avoids Zazen's words and confronts Aoyama on the field, but ends up losing as he is new to the game. After the practice, Yumaya meets up with Gato, who is busy with her cleaning ritual and feels intimidated by Yumaya's presence, but when Yumaya suggests helping out, Gato immediately hides her weapon Law. After that, Yumaya hears the trio claiming he doesn't have a chance against Aoyama the Great when Gato gets out of their washroom after cleaning it. Yumaya decides to up his game by offering Gato some help in her daily work, which makes Gato appreciate him as she shares a pair of gloves with him which will help him in cleaning. Meanwhile, the trio decides to support Yumaya in his pursuit of making Gato like him. Eventually, as Gato and Yumaya clean up the sink, Aoyama comes across them, making Gato and Yumaya leave the premises. Yumaya asks Gato her reason for having feelings for Aoyama, but she claims that she didn't know when she gave him her heart. Yumaya decides to support Gato as he plans a trip to a zoo where a cat festival is being held, which catches his attention and he agrees to go. Meanwhile, the trio thinks that Yumaya is trying to trick Gato into confessing so that he can steal her. The next day, as Gato, Yumaya, and Aoyama explore the zoo, Aoyama marvels at the wonderful animals, while Gato's gaze remains fixated on him and Yumaya watches Gato intently, his love for her unrequited. I feel sad for Yumaya. Meanwhile, the other members of the soccer team follow them, assuming Yumaya is trying to manipulate Gato into a relationship with him. Aoyama's group meets up with Otajiri, which makes Gato depressed, but Yumaya encourages her as they ride a boat. From a distance, Yumaya observes Aoyama and Mocha enjoying a tranquil boat ride on the lake. The man has made up his mind to support Gato and Aoyama wholeheartedly. After the sacrifice of our dear Yumaya, surprisingly, it is revealed that the beautiful coach, Miwa, is an avid fan of a popular soccer anime. With otaku pillows in tow, she proposes that the team embark on a training camp similar to the one featured in the anime. The next day, Miwa proposes the idea in front of her team, who hesitantly agrees as Zazen offers his farmhouse as a training ground. At home, Zazen's father shows his dismay that Zazen cannot score and proposes that he can make the opposite team have a bigger net. Talk about being filthy rich. However, Zazen's little sister Karin intervenes, causing their father to coddle her. The coach visits the Zazen's family with her intent that the whole school will be invited to their farmhouse, which is approved. Conveniently, expenses are not a concern as Zazen's family is unexpectedly wealthy. Surprisingly, Aoyama also joins the gang as he receives extra favorable treatment which he cannot refuse. They head to a beach resort owned by his family, accompanied by Mio and the other girls, which is a certified beach getaway. At the beach, as everyone settles in their rooms, Miwa calls out for a practice session where other students including Otajiri join the games, while Aoyama is reluctant to play due to the sand. However, as the practice continues, Gaku falls, which makes Miwa suggest that Gato should try to join the game as well. The other players think that Gato doesn't have any skill set to play a serious game, but she turns out to be a much better player than the ones playing for the school. However, Gato likes to play dirty, which Aoyama doesn't find pleasing, but he still appreciates her for her soccer skills. After that, the students are given a different exercise, but it turns out that it's another Zazen group invention to help Zazen with his footing in the soccer game, which makes Zazen appreciate his sister. After countless different exercises, the group craves some food, but when Karin brings a dish, it contains only a pea, which doesn't satisfy the hungry lot. However, suddenly the smell of mouth-watering delicious food makes them run after Aoyama's room, where he is preparing a house full of yummy goodies. At night, Karin brings another game to our group, the haunted house, where the groups get sorted in pairs through a computer system. Aoyama ends up being paired with Zazen, who isn't good with a ghost, while Gato and Otajiri almost follow them. It turns out Aoyama remains true to his nature as he cleans the haunted hospital, while Otajiri enjoys the haunted house ghosts. After countless encounters with ghosts, Zazen finally gets out screaming, while Gato protects her love interest Aoyama from potential dangers. After the hospital endeavor, the rest of the trip remains peaceful, which makes the group enjoy their time. After the practice, as Aoyama leaves the club room, everyone remembers the beautiful girl named Kurata Kuz who appeared out of the blue and greeted Aoyama, and it's evident that he already knows her. Curious, the other boys decide to follow Aoyama after school, as they want to know more about Aoyama and his lifestyle. The group crosses many hurdles to keep themselves behind Aoyama, but as it turns out, Aoyama is not only fast but also cunning. Please kids, remember to not follow this at home. After finally losing their tale of Aoyama, they visit a convenience store where they finally find Aoyama with some bags of food. The group again quietly follows Aoyama, which leads them to the house of Ibuki Seigo, a renowned soccer player for the Spanish youth team. Inside, they discover Aoyama cooking dinner for Seigo, as he has been doing ever since losing to him in a one-on-one match some time ago. After eating, Aoyama again challenges Seigo while the others sleep. The next day, at the school, Aoyama decides to leave practice and goes somewhere else, which makes Zazen and Gato follow him. However, it turns out that Aoyama is at Thicc school, where Kurata is also standing. Not understanding the situation, Zazen thinks that Aoyama followed the girl to this school and claims that Aoyama is a brat. After that, Seigo joins them, and Zazen realizes that Aoyama is here to play a match with Seigo. During the match, Kuz revealed that they were in the same national youth team, so it did not only make them opponents but also greater teaming. As Seigo doesn't play well, Aoyama calls it a game, while Zazen feels intimidated as he thought he was playing a much better game. As for the girl who showed up at practice, she happens to be Seigo's girlfriend, making Seigo and Kazue Aoyama's friends. However, Seigo and Kazue's relationship is a bit tumultuous. Despite loving each other, Seigo finds Kazue's cooking boring, unaware that she meticulously ensures his nutritional needs are met. This frustrates and angers Kazue, as Seigo fails to grasp this simple fact. In a surprising turn of events, Aoyama steps in to help reconcile their differences and makes Seigo realize Kazue's genuine care for him. Aoyama asks Seigo to call Kuz in his attempt to make their relationship work. Kuz ends up coming to the date, while Seigo wears a cat cosplay on Aoyama's demand, who thinks that Kuz will like it. After that, they go to a store to buy books, where it is revealed that Kuz is trying her best to give Seigo the best meal, while, on Aoyama's request, Seigo gives a cooking recipe book, which makes Kuz angrier. However, as they spend time together, their harsh feelings fade away, which gives Aoyama the chance to counter Seigo yet again. Even though Kuz doesn't like the idea at first, she agrees as she loves Seigo for his fighting spirit. After playing, Seigo eats the food that Kuz made and appreciates her for making delicious food. Ultimately, this proves to be a heartwarming and sweet resolution to their relationship troubles. One of the players, named Sakai, changes his appearance to look like Aoyama and also improves his skills at soccer to attract girls' attention. However, his friends Jin and Taichai try to make fun of him so that he realizes his mistake, but he avoids them to look cool. As days go by, Sakai's fan base increases as he also receives cookies from random girls who enjoy watching his games, while his friends feel jealous. One day after the game, Sakai is called out by 3 girls who confess their feelings one by one, but Sakai shows hesitation, which makes his friends think that he is back to his senses, but ends up disappointed when Sakai claims that he has to be available for everyone. The next day, as the soccer god favors Sakai, he scores much better than Zazen, which makes him worried about his position. The coach also decides to change his position as forward when he scores nil in the practice game, and has to watch Sakai, who isn't playing because he has some kind of a goal but only wishes for his fan base to increase. Zazen asks Gato for her help in improving his skills, as his father is disappointed in him. Through considerate insistence, Gato decides to help Zazen in his predicament of being unable to score with his leg. At night, Gato starts Zazen's training. However, she realizes that Zazen is extremely bad at the game. As Zazen decides to call it a day, Gato insists on continuing his practice, which gets interrupted by his father, who appreciates his son and decides to offer money to the coach in hopes that she will let him play as a forward. This unacceptable behavior is seen by Gato, who immediately flares up as she tackles Zazen and his father and orders Zazen to continue his training. Surely no one messes with our little Gato. After countless attempts, Zazen manages to score some goals, which makes Gato suggest that Zazen should endure more training while his father watches them. The next day, as Sakai changes his hairstyle, the soccer god realizes that he isn't Aoyama and leaves him, which makes his play extremely bad while his friends try their best to call him back. However, as Sakai is lost in addiction to praises, he visits Gato for her help in making him more like Aoyama, but she immediately throws him out as he decides to join his friend's group. Meanwhile, Zazen catches the spotlight when he manages to score with his legs, and the coach makes him a forward yet again. As the game against the renowned Kureishi High School begins, Aoyama's teammates feel the pressure. They wonder why someone of Aoyama's caliber would choose to attend a seemingly average school like theirs. Zazen, understanding their concerns, tells Aoyama that it's fine for him to leave if he has better opportunities elsewhere. But Aoyama doesn't provide a clear answer. During the game, Kureishi High School's iron wall defense proves formidable, relentlessly attacking while their defense holds Aoyama at bay. With each goal they score, the situation becomes worse for Aoyama's team. Aoyama himself gets dirty while trying to protect the goal. With only 5 minutes remaining and victory slipping away, Zazen suddenly feels his mother's encouragement. This newfound motivation propels him to take charge and lead his team to a comeback. Zazen starts by scoring a crucial goal that disrupts the opponent's defense, making it easier for Aoyama to score additional goals. Through their collective efforts, they turn the tide of the game, securing a hard-fought victory for Fujimi High School. After the intense game, it becomes apparent that Zazen is reunited with his mother for the first time in 5 years. However, their reunion is short-lived as she promptly departs for Brazil in a helicopter, bidding farewell to her son. Meanwhile, scouts approach Aoyama once again, attempting to recruit him, but this time, he refuses to entertain their offers. Finally, the others are curious about the real reason why Aoyama chooses to stay at Fujimi High School. To their surprise, his answer is simple yet profound. He explains that it all comes down to the color of their uniform, white, a symbol of cleanliness. Aoyama's commitment to cleanliness and hygiene is deeply ingrained in his character, and he believes that staying at Fujimi, with its white uniform, aligns with his values. With this revelation, the lesson on cleanliness concludes, and Aoyama encourages everyone who watches anime to complete their homework diligently. As the team reflects on their eventful journey, they find solace in knowing that they have a unique bond and a shared commitment to cleanliness and excellence. That's all for today. If you enjoyed our video, do give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more fantastic content.